France's WANJI is seeking custody of his grandchild who survived the cult in eastern Kenya and is now in government care. His daughter was one of Pastor Paul Mackenzie's followers. Survivors say he convinced many of them to starve first their children and then themselves to death before the end of the world so they could go to heaven. When Francis organised the rescue, it was too late for two of his grandchildren. The one who survived explained what happened to his younger brother, Saith, on the day he was supposed to die.
He said that the mom tried to suffocate Saith by blocking both the nose and mouth. Was kicking, Saith was just still kicking his legs, okay? But that time they not even bother. They just buried Saith while still alive.
Saith is among hundreds of people who've been buried in the remote, arid forest to where Mackenzie had called his followers. More than a month after they started dying, police started exhuming bodies at the site.
People found alive are brought here to Malindi's town hospital. Some of them want to continue starving themselves to death. Those who are already dead are taken to the town's morgue next door. People familiar with the site and survivors say that there are members of the cult's militia and some of its followers still alive hiding in the bush, and that there are hundreds more bodies buried in the ground.
This person's worked at the site but is not authorised to talk.
There are many signs that things are still going on in that place. You can see people have been cooking in the houses. We came across a body that was recently put in a house that we'd searched several times. One of their hands had been eaten by a hyena.
Mackenzie was arrested several times and released, even after his followers started dying. He's now in police custody awaiting charges. The government's launched a commission of inquiry and is looking at regulating preachers. People at other churches in the town of Malindi are wondering why nobody's stopped Mackenzie. This one's led by Bishop Thomas KAKALA. He says he's been alerting the authorities to Mackenzie's dangerous doomsday preaching for years.
These cultic preachers, they centralize everybody to them, not to Jesus. Then they begin to manipulate those people. Those people will have to sell their properties and bring the money at his feet. Now he can bribe the police. He can bribe anybody with that money.
You don't be worried. You will get the child.
The child protection officers tell Francis they'll help him seek custody of his grandchild when he's released from care. It was after Francis took journalists to the site last month that the police operation finally began. He says hundreds of lives could have been saved, including 5-year-old Saith. Malcolm Webb, Al Jazeera, Malindi, Kenya.